The most intense Vietnam shooter ever made. This is Shellshock Nam 67. Now this game I've been playing for a few hours now, and it is very hard to get hold of. But this is like my childhood. I mean, it's kind of fuck saying that because I was playing this when I was like 9 years old with my dad. And if I look at the reviews for this game, the reviews aren't very great. It says 5.8 by IGN and 58% Metacritic and a 5.4 GameSpot. But in my opinion, it's probably one of the best games probably out there for a Vietnam game anyway, and it's third person, which most of them are first person games, so it's kind of strange how the reviews are quite bad. And honestly, playing it again for like the second time in about fucking 20, not 20 years, probably about bloody 18, 19 years, I don't think it's honestly that bad. I mean, a bit of nostalgia's probably hitting there, so that's kind of maybe fumbling my personal review for it, but I think it's honestly a great game, and it's very intense, and some parts of it actually are quite hard. I mean, I'm playing on the medium difficulty, but there's a segment further in the video that is quite hard and it's quite intense to actually get through because I keep dying. I couldn't imagine what it's like on the hard difficulty. But this is honestly probably one of my favourite Vietnam shooters. I was playing this when I was like 8 or 9 years old all the time, and I didn't even think I finished it. I was just playing it, and there were scenes in the game where you can just hold out for ages and the scene will never carry on, and you just sit there shooting the Viet Cong for hours in end, and I thought that was entertaining when I was like 9 years old, and I'd sit outside the bunker and won't proceed into the next section of the area, so then the enemies will just keep spawning, and that would be kind of just what I was playing for hours on my PS2. But this game is quite hard to actually get hold of. I'm pretty sure you can't get it on Steam anymore. I think it did come out on Steam a long time ago, but the game was just breaking and it wasn't working correctly, so they just pulled it off Steam, and then it's just never been back on there. I'd love this game to be on Steam, but yeah, it's just not on there, and the only way I can think you can actually play it is getting a PS2, maybe the original Xbox, and probably the get the PC version, which you can just find on the internet, but obviously be careful downloading that. But I am using the PC one, but you can buy the actual disc. But the great thing about this game is you have an actual area at the start where you can chill out your buddies, like it's like a hub area where you can just speak to the other soldiers and buy weapons. There's like an actual vendor where you can buy your like Playboy pictures, weapons that I'm assuming are like very powerful ones because this is a pistol. It's called like a strange name, but I'm assuming these are like good weapons that are like one shot everything. But this guy juices the vendor, and then you can buy like pills, whatever they do. I'm not too sure because I've never bought them. And then you can also buy a pass for the like the bloody brothel house with all the Viet Cong women, which I'll show you in a minute. But these are the pictures you can get. I probably won't show them all, but well, these two I've got. But as you can see, it's basically just like a Playboy magazine. I'm sure I might be able to show this on YouTube because there's nothing really revealing showing. It's just a bit of side B, which, I mean, that isn't that bad, is it, really? But yeah, the hub area is quite cool. You can just run around it and just chill out. And then there's a firing range as well, and this guy will just speak about all the weapons, and I'm pretty sure the history of the weapons as well. But then you can use the firing range and then just get your accuracy up before you go into the next mission. The thing at the top right is the currency you can get, so you can pick up items off the floor after you've killed someone, and you can use those items.
Hey soldier, I know see you before. My name Mama-san. You want good time with girl? I fix for you. My girls live behind camp.
So this woman is like the brothel house woman. Now you can go into the brothel and speak to a few of these women. So as you can see, it's a bit over dramatic. You can't see anything, but like the fucking thing falls down. It's just a bit nuts. And then he has a bit like a slight step in his foot as soon as he walks out. It was kind of funny. They've obviously done that on purpose. But yeah, it is quite funny.
Bravo 6 to Red Horn. Squad on approach to village. Orders out to zone and sweep for hostiles and locate missing journalists.
Red Horn to Bravo 6, copy that. Keep eyes sharp for booby traps. Intel reports a heavy VC presence.
Roger that, Red Horn. We'll take care. Out.
Now, there's also like booby traps as well in the game, which are quite brutal. So you will see this guy go in the booby trap. It like swings of a side tree that has spikes all over it. These of what are used in the Vietnam War. So this game kind of shows them. I don't think there is many games that shows these kind of things, like the brutality of the war. That's kind of why I like it, because it shows kind of messed up things that a 9-year-old lad shouldn't be seeing. Which I don't know why I was playing at that age, but yeah, I was, and I loved it. But yeah, you shouldn't have games that really show these kind of things, and it is one of the only games I think I've seen that kind of shows the brutality of the actual war. And there is a lot of fucked up things in this game, so maybe that's kind of things that the reason it didn't show the review. But this is the mini game to disarm booby traps, and I absolutely fuck it up. So yeah, but then I do it again, and I just realised I was clicking the wrong keys to actually chew it. But it's fairly easy, but this kind of keeps you on the edge because it is kind of looks like it's going to be hard because the time limit's very short. But these are fairly simple little mini games. What you do in between each area. But yeah, it's just a very intense game, and it's just constant action all the way through. And there is some messed up missions further in the storyline, which I remember playing years ago, where one of the soldiers actually turns hostile and he's just killing everyone. I won't name the soldier, but you'll probably know from the beginning of the game which guy I'm talking about. But yeah, you have to go through special ops training as well, where you actually become a special ops soldier as well, where your outfit actually changes as well. So you get like a little, well, I forgot the name of it. You'll slate me for this if you know everything about the army, but it's like a little fishing hat thing, which the special forces use, and you get like face paint on your face as well. And then your actual outfit turns more like tiger camo. So that's after a couple of missions. I think it's about 4 or 5 missions in the game. But yeah, it's just one of those great games where I don't think a lot of people played it back in the day on the PS2. And I don't think it got a lot of love when it first came out. And there's missions where you can go to villages and try and find all the hidden weapons in these haystacks. I wasn't too sure what to do at first, but you get grenades to blow these up, and there'll be weapons under the haystacks that the villagers are hiding for the Viet Cong. So yeah, these missions are pretty cool, because it's not only just missions where you just constantly find all the way through the entire mission. You're like investigating areas just to make sure they're not hiding any weaponry, which they will be doing. And there's also the special forces missions where you have to go in sneakily, and you've got like a little was it a Cambo knife or whatever they called, or a K-bar knife, that's the one. And then you've got to go through the jungles and like this beachside area, and then you just got to sneak up behind the guys and kill them. But I died over and over again in the next mission after this. It was horrible, but I died falling off like a cliff edge as well. So it is quite a hard little game to play. And like I said earlier, playing on harder, which I've not done yet, I could imagine it's absolutely nuts, because this is on medium, and after a few gunshots, so like the back or the chest or even the head, you will take a lot of damage in this. You do go down pretty quickly, and the good thing about this game is it's extremely gory. So games years ago, I feel like they're quite gory. I mean, the graphics aren't like the greatest, but I think they'll do. Like, I don't think the graphics on this game are like the worst, and it's playable. I'm actually quite enjoying playing. I'm definitely going to finish it after I've played this video, because it's just quite an enjoyable game, and it's just constant action, and it's just very intense. But the gore is very gory, and like the heads blow off and the legs blow off, and the Viet Cong guys are just crawling across the floor. It's just fucking nuts. So yeah, it's just absolutely mental, this game. And I could imagine they got some backlash years ago in 2004 when it came out, just because of the intense gore and the kind of fucked up scenes throughout the game. Because there is some scenes later on in this video where you go to like a castle impound, and there's like torture rooms of the American soldiers, and like the lieutenant or whatever has been strapped to a chair and he's been all beaten up and stuff like that. But I don't see why it's that bad, because you get a lot of Vietnam films like is it The Deer Hunter and Full Metal Jacket and Platoon, and those films are kind of messed up, and there's other ones where they kind of show the brutality of the war and all the fucked up stuff that happens in it. So I couldn't see why this game would be knocked on for that, when it's just showing pretty much what happened in the war. I mean, it is probably somewhat over-exaggerating some scenes, but from what I know, the war was kind of messed up, and both sides did pretty fucked up things. So this game's just kind of showing that, but at like a not as fucked level, but it's still pretty fucked. As this scene here, which is quite messed up, this is an actual war crime that happens in the game, and it's not just the only one. There is quite a few, and this guy's like one of the messed up soldiers that just always does it, and he doesn't care, and they kind of just don't care that he does it, because even though it's illegal, the soldiers just let him off with it.
Please, don't hurt me. I said shut up! Shut the fuck up! Yeah! Yeah, look at you now! No more goddamn yelling!
What the hell did you do, Kowalski? You really going psycho?
Bravo 6 advanced.
And guess what? They made a second one too, which wasn't very great. It was like a zombie Vietnam shooter, first person, so it was completely different from this game. But I mean, you can check it out if you want, but it was awful. Came out in 2009. And then Eidos Interactive as well. They closed down, but technically closed down. Square Enix bought them out. So there is possible the people that make like Hitman and Deus Ex will create a new one of this, but I can highly doubt it. But it'd be absolutely amazing if they went out of the way to just make a remaster of this, or just a complete new start to the franchise, and just get a whole new, brand new Vietnam War game, because we haven't actually had any Vietnam War games in a long time. The last decent one I can think of was the Battlefield 1, Battlefield Vietnam, which came out a long time ago. I think it came in like 2013-14. But Battlefield's graphics are very good because of the engine they use, things like Crytek or whatever it is. But you can imagine that's amazing. But from what I remember, I think that was just an online one. It was just Battlefield Vietnam, and it was just online PvP. So if you want like a single player, kind of semi-open world Vietnam game, this is probably the best bet, because there isn't really any that's kind of semi-open world with a hub. I know the old school Vietnam War games where you can swap between like 4 different characters. I think it's called Conflict. I remember Conflict Desert Storm, and I think there was a Conflict Vietnam, which was okay. But I actually preferred this game over than Conflict Vietnam. I believe that's what it's called. But I 100% preferred this because it was just so much more fucking nuts and gory and crazy and just over the top. And I think that's why it actually got knocked on its reviews by like IGN and all that, because it was just over the top, not really much else to it. But that's probably one of the great things about this game, is it's just so fucking nuts and so out there, which kind of makes it better. And if you kind of got like a short attention span, this is just fucking mint, because you can just turn it on and just have a fucking blast just killing people all day. Now, come to think of it, those other games were actually released in 2004, and this was as well, so I'm guessing it did have a bit of competition. So Battlefield Vietnam, which I mentioned, I think there was 2 of them, because I mentioned Vietnam, but then I put on screen the 2004 one, but I'm pretty sure there was one created long after that in like the mid-2010s. But you had Conflict and Battlefield released both in 2004, so there would have been 3 Vietnam-era games released during the same time period. So I'm assuming the most popular ones probably would have been a Battlefield, and then maybe Conflict, because Conflict was very popular at the time, because you had like the Desert Storm one, I think, either before or after the Vietnam one, so everyone knew what Conflict was. And then also everyone who knew what Battlefield was, because Battlefield is just amazing. Franchise, and it's created by EA, so everyone knows the developers, EA, or publishers even. So you probably would have chose that over this. But this is a little bit of a gem game. I mean, like I said, can't really get it anywhere, and the only place you can get it nowadays is getting a PS2 or an Xbox original, but it's probably just easy getting a PS2. And then going into like a retro game store or like a second-hand game store. That's even if they do PS2 games anymore in there. And then just buy it in there. But I could imagine it's quite hard to get a hold of. So I remember I bought a PS2 a long time ago, and I did actually get this game, but that was like 10 years ago when I was like 15, 16. But nowadays PS2 games are quite hard to get a hold of, because the quality of the discs are probably scratched and worn out to hell, because these games would have been released in 2004, 2005, 2006. So you can imagine the amount of people's hands it's gone through. If you buy it from a second-hand shop, it's probably a hell of a lot. So the game is probably going to be knackered by that point. So getting it on the PC is probably the easiest option, because you can get a PC download, or you can probably buy the PC disc as well. It's probably better just to try and buy it online for a PC download, because the PC is probably the easiest way. I did have a bit of problems at first downloading it, installing it, because I had to go and edit some parts in the code or something like that. But eventually I did get it to work. But I think someone should start a petition on getting this game back on Steam, or whoever's publishing these games nowadays, just to get this back on Steam and make sure it's right for Steam. See, we can play it on the PC in a proper way, so then it can actually be on your Steam account, and then not just download it off the internet, or having to buy a PS2 and then hope for the best, finding it in a second-hand shop or on eBay, which, you know, you could end up getting it. It could end up being absolutely screwed because it's such an old game. So someone down below in the comments just say you've started a petition so we can get this going, so then everyone can play this game, because it's severely underrated, and I think it hasn't had the love it deserves, because it is a great game. It's just absolutely intense. I mean, the story's not the best, but it's just a good game to fuck around on, and it's a lot of fun just going around killing the Viet Cong and just blowing shit up, shooting things. and there's a variety of weapons to choose from, so you're not just stuck with a bog standard rifle. You've got many weapons to choose from. And I say the story's bad, but I don't think it's bad, but it's okay. It's average at best. I mean, the games nowadays are just fucking awful. So if this story's bad, I mean, the stories you get in games nowadays are just fucking absolute dog shit, aren't they? Realistically. So yeah. Anyway, guys, just subscribe, like, comment down below what you think, and if you've got any guys that have played this back in the day when it first came out for the bit of nostalgia, just hit a like button, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. I'll just let the rest of the video play out, because it's right at the end anyway. So see you later, guys, and I'll see you in a bit. Adios.
As you were.
Yes, sir.
That was a hell of a fight. I put everyone in for citations. Thanks to the intel you collected, King Kong now has a name. General Gore. And he's no ghost, let me assure you. Bad news is that Brass wants us to hold a fort, and they think it would make a good observation base. Charlie's gonna want this pile of bricks back, so be ready for him.
Yes, sir.
Got your orders. Let's get this perimeter secured for the night.
Yes, sir.